Om Shanti, everyone. This is our last session, and let's have, I'm going to put Baba up again, and we can meditate. I'll give a few thoughts, and while we're doing that, more people probably will come online, I hope. So again, just sit in front of Bapdada. Baba is the one who has been inspiring us all. Just think of how many beautiful things he tells us in the Muli. This combined form of Shiv Baba and Brahma Baba together. The source of spiritual strength and the example of practical wisdom and virtues. So again, just remember what it was that brought you to Baba and what it was that made you come closer to the operation of service, participating in Baba's service in some way. What made you step forward? Yeah, our true vocation is to serve. And it's through serving that we actually come to know about our specialities. And it's also through service we come to know about what we need to do still, what's missing. And there's really no limit to what Baba can do through us. But I shouldn't put any limitations on what Baba can do through the soul. Just remember Daddy Janki and the other daddies. We've got such great examples in front of us. And we call them the ancestor souls, but also we have to remember that we are also the ancestor souls. We are from the trunk of humanity. We are in the roots of humanity, actually, in the confluence age. So remember the picture of the tree and all the Brahmins sitting in the roots with Baba and Mama. I'm there. I am serving all of my brothers and sisters who actually don't have the same fortune for some reason as I do. I have the fortune to be in the roots of humanity, close to the seed, close to the main seed of humanity also, which is Brahma Baba. So just think about your fortune. Think about what Baba could do if you really were able to go beyond your own limitations. What could you do if you had zero fear? What could you do? if you no longer made any excuses for any reason. Daddy Jack had so many health problems, but that wasn't an obstacle for her. So the same power that was behind Brahma Baba and behind our daddies is behind me. The same power, the same knowledge. I know exactly what Brahma Baba knew and the daddies knew. So how great is my fortune? How great is the fortune to just be able to invoke God's presence and He's there. He's there. Not far away, just a thought. One thought distant. So let's stay in this, in silence, just remembering how fortunate we are. How the same Shiv Baba that Brahma Baba remembered is the same that I'm remembering. Just think of the purity and high intentions that you can see in Brahma Baba's face. Just behind his eyes, such purity in his outlook. Such calm also, because he knew the drama. That everything was accurate. So just to come back here. Nice, huh? How are you feeling? Feeling okay? Everything okay?
Oh, good. Thank you, Kenbai.
Write down, everyone just write down one word to indicate how they're feeling at this moment in the chat. Just one word. Let's see what comes up. Just sort of fortunate, Haradi, Violetta, lucky, inspired, Sicily, fortunate, Vinodan, stable, Maria from Athens. Come on. How are you feeling? One word. Great, J. BKGPH is enriched, light and lovely, happy, elevated, encouraged and inspired, connected to the sea, Dipti, deeply, deep love, Oma. Come on, who else? Who hasn't said anything? This is inspired and learned a lot, carefree, light. Light, light, light. Yeah. This is the advantage. Peaceful, said Galaxy A20. Love for Baba, Sophia. Enlightened, free, Rekha. Okay, wonderful. And did you do your homework? Because now I'm going to reveal to you what it all means. Yes, somebody's saying yes. Pradeep, yes, Sophia. Okay, so let's have a look at what that all meant. And we'll go back to sharing the screen. Here we are. I have to find it now. Here we are. Now, in specifying these personality traits, we know that they are characteristics that we have acquired more than anything. We have built them up over our many births. And that's why it's such a mix of things. I remember once we had an exercise to write down all of the virtues that begin with the letter C. Oh my God, there are about 75 or 80 virtues just with the letter C. So there's such a variety of behaviors and Brahmin life. When I say this, I say it with a lot of experience. Brahmins are together not only to do service, but also and to reveal Baba, not because of our individual brilliance, but because of the impact that the collective has on people. The fact that we can show harmony, that we can show unity, that we can show that it's possible for human beings to live together in an elevated way. That's the reason we are together. And we are more tolerant towards people that don't have gyan because we sort of understand that they don't understand. So we tend to be more tolerant towards our Lokkic connections and families because we think, well, that poor soul doesn't know, that poor soul doesn't really understand, and that's why he or she is suffering. But with Brahmins, we have a lot of expectations, not only because the Brahmin family is an incredible mirror, and specifically people, that's why we need to have a considerable level of purity to go to Madhavan, because Madhavan is an incredible mirror. And you see yourself. And so one of our greatest difficulties that we can't really have more tolerance towards Brahmins who have a different behavior to ours is because we expect people to understand the things in the way I understand the things. Oh, that soul is also coming to the Murli. He's also understanding the same gyan as me, but why is he behaving like that? So we started out together. In the golden age, we had very similar sanskars, all of us. And of course there were no dualities. There wasn't love and hate. There wasn't beauty and ugliness. There wasn't any like tolerance and intolerance. People were naturally okay. But we've all had different experiences over time, different births. We've all been in many different relationships. We've all been husbands, wives, fathers, mothers, grandmothers, grandfathers, everything. We've probably worked in several professions as well. So we have the same original state, but we've become different over the cycle. Some of us have tended towards or inclined towards, in fact, that's a great translation of sanskars, like the preponderance or the inclination towards something. And so some of us incline towards silence and peace. We become more introspective and so on. Some of us incline to more happiness and joy and extroversion, maybe. Some of us have inclined to be more loving and more kind. Some of us have inclined to be very studious and very intellectual. Some of us have inclined towards being bright and sort of full of ideas, lots of creativity. You don't find everyone with the same level of creativity. You don't find everyone with the same level of love for details. or processes, you don't find the same level of practicity. Some people are more practical than others. Some people, even though they're virtuous, they're completely impractical. You know, they're living on the moon or something. Some people are so tender that they can't stay solid. They're so how do you say, so sensitive. Even though having a sensitive nature in some cases is good, but sometimes you can be too sensitive. And Baba talks about the touch-me-nots. So let's have a look. I've used the idea of the 5 elements because Baba talks about the 5 elements. And I've associated with different personality traits. So if you look at your columns, have you added them up? Have you done this exercise? Have you added all of the columns and then you divide it by 2 to get the percentage? Have you done that? Yeah? Okay. So let's go ahead now. So if you are an A person, if your highest value is A, you are a more practical, down-to-earth, firm, solid. You're concerned about results. You are a pragmatist. If that is your dominating characteristic, that's what you'll see. It's very rare to have someone with 25% of each. It's extremely rare. But some Brahmins have 26, 27, 24, 23. So they're fairly balanced. But if you've got more than 30% and less than 20%, you probably have to do a lot of work to get along with others, because that's slightly out of balance. Now, but I can explain what you can do about it. So an A person is an earth type. A B person is a fire type, very creative, inspired, full of ideas, intuitive, sort of fiery, you know, very sort of can't keep them down, sort of very creative, very agitated also. If you're a C-type person, if that's your dominating characteristic, you are soft, loving, loyal, you're concerned about harmony. So earth is concerned about results, fire is concerned about the idea itself, water is concerned about the harmony of the team, harmony of the group. And air is a characteristic of being logical, analytical, planning type, concerned about processes. And the 5th element is ether, which is actually, it's like transversal. It's in everything, like just in the. So I haven't done a separate column for ether because that has a special function. It's like my spirituality, it's actually being soul conscious, so that I can make my dominant characteristics be really positive rather than negative. Because the negative side of earth is that person tends to be quite aggressive, sometimes like a tractor running over everything and everyone just to get the result going. And a fire person, the downside is the person very impulsive, easily distracted, impatient. The downside of water, the person is undecided, too sensitive. Water means tears, right? Very teary sort of person, too soft. And an air person, because they're very intellectual, very logical, they like the plans to be very well established. They can't understand how to do things without a process. An earth person will just do it, right, without thinking about the process. A fire person won't think about the practical side, just wants to give the idea. A water person thinks about how people are getting on and so on. But an air person, because they know a lot, they see a lot, they they watch a lot, they can also become very arrogant and critical. So, what are you? What is your, can you write down in the chat just your 4 A, B, C, D? I'm not talking about E yet. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Can you write down your characteristics very quickly in the chat? And I can read them out. A is what percentage? Put your name and then the percentage, and we can have a look. Doesn't matter if you're balanced out. I think that's, I'll explain that also. But if you've got more than 30 in one of the columns and less than 20, water is 31%. A is 27%. Okay, C is 27.5. Somebody from Hawaii is 34.5% of A. So very practical, very pragmatic. Sophia is somewhere between water and air. Somebody says 26, 29, 20. So 20 would be the air part. A is 26, Oma. What else? Down, you can write it as Violetta does, just 4 numbers. Because so we can understand it as A, B, C, D. 24, John is 24, 21, 30.5 would be water. 24 is air. Okay, pretty balanced. So D is air. Mona is very process-oriented, looks like. So you've got 31, 34.5, 17.5, someone from Harare, 26.5, that looks pretty okay. It looks like air is the lower number, that's pretty normal. And this person's quite, 29 is C, that's quite a lot of water. Okay. So let's, I'll stop sharing now and I'll come back to talk about, while we've got the screen up, I'll just talk a little bit more about, you see the function of ether. As I said, it also has a downside. Oh my God. The function of ether has also a downside, which is sort of a pseudo spiritual type of person. It looks like spiritual, but it's not. So what is spirituality in this context? What is spiritual power? Therefore, if I have a high level of earth or a low level of earth, then spirituality can compensate. I can make that, if it's really high level, really spiritually practical as well. I can put in, because determination are characteristics of earth. Courage is also a characteristic of earth. Not even thinking about having faith in the futures and just going ahead. Persistence, these are also characteristics that if we spiritualize our earth, that's something we can do. So if you've got a lot of fire, you have to understand that it's probably the lowest of all the 5 elements. In a human group of people, the lowest is normally fire. So not everyone is creative, not everyone has ideas, not everyone. But the ideas person has to be aware of how he is with the others. In the same way, air has to be aware that not everyone's interested in the details or the process. And water person has to be more practical with their loving nature, not just being soft and loving, but sort of constructive as well. So if I have a high water and a low earth, I really have to make some effort to spiritualize that difference. Not only that, you think about the people I'll now stop sharing. You think about the people that you work with closely. When I developed this originally for a Lokic situation, but of course, based on Gyan, I can reflect back and say make it more appropriate based on Gyan, because we have these characteristics, and we have imbalances in our personality, which are quite natural. We have picked them up over time. So we've been, you see most human beings, if you did this survey with every single human being on the planet, you would probably find that 65% are predominantly water. Sort of loving, caring sort of types, not powerful. Just like buggets that have love but don't have any power, right? But we need to make our love for God practical. So this is our challenge. We have to make our great ideas practical. We have to understand that if you're going to do something with other people, you have to have it set out and planned. So I remember I did this in the retreat centers in Australia. And to the surprise of everyone, I did it in the 3 retreat centers, the lowest of all was air. So they're trying to do things, but there's no one actually sitting down and planning everything. You look at Brother Charlie, such a loving individual. He's also good at planning, He's also good at planning. Maybe not so great at creating ideas, but he's got a good team. So we need the ideas. We need the processes. We need to be practical and pragmatic, and we need to have harmony. We need everything. So to make plants grow, you need fire, earth, air, and water. So to make a service plan grow, you have to have everything. And if you don't have, then the spiritual component will help us to make up for the difference. And we can attract people who are more planner types or more creative types or more practical. They're more harmonizing. But if you've got a team, let's say, and all of you are predominantly earth, my God, you'll have a hard time. If you have a group of people that are predominantly water, you'll probably never come to a decision. You just enjoy sitting around having cups of tea, enjoy the environment that actually create things. No. And if you have creative people, they generally don't get on with each other because they're too brilliant and they don't like long meetings. So the only ones that really like meetings, if you asked all of the earth people how they like meetings, they will like meetings short and sweet and very objective. The air type people like meetings very, very, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, 4A, 4B, 4C, 4D, like a very structured sort of thing. And as I said, the water type people will, like just being together, not necessarily getting towards any results. And the fire type people probably won't come to the meeting. So I know I'm generalizing a lot, but you look at it in practice, we have to get along with each other. So we have to sort of understand who it is that we're working with. So I'll give you an example. In my Lokic work, I once was asked by a woman who's actually now the president of the party of the president of Brazil. She's the president. So I worked with her in several projects when she was just she was working in a hydroelectric project as a financial director. So I worked with her since then, and then she became the prime minister of Brazil. So I worked with her when she was the prime minister. I helped her to plan her campaign for Senate, and she won. She won. She became a senator. So I don't know much about politics, but I know how people work. So I told her that in her speeches, she should make sure that she speaks something that has 4 characteristics. She has to speak something inspirational for the fire types. She has to speak something that touches people's hearts for the water types. She has to show how practical something is for the earth types, and she has to give some statistics and a clear idea of the process for the air types. So that if in her speeches she makes sure that she's adding those ingredients, she will be speaking to 100% of the audience. And that's what she did, and she won. It's interesting when you're talking about talking to a group of people as a teacher, right? Keep in mind that some people are more touchy-feely types. Other people, when I've seen groups of people when they're doing some group dynamics in the nature, and they're hugging the trees or something. The earth type people hate it. The air type people hate it. Only the water type people love hugging trees. So we have to be sensitive that people are different. And so that if I'm speaking to someone who's a fire type predominantly, and I'm going to all of these details, he's already switched off after 1 minute, So I'm wasting time. And this is all about taking people's pulse when you're interacting with them. If you understand that people have become different, we are similar in our original state, but we've become vastly different, and we're dealing with the discrepancies of these differences in every relationship that we're involved in. And my spirituality should help me to figure out what type of person is in front of me so that I can be more effective in my communication. I remember Baba because Baba knows. I can ask Baba, how much detail should I go into? How much practicity should I go into? How much touching of heart I should go into with these people? So if you're just being soft and loving with a bunch of earth people, or a bunch of fire people, or a bunch of air people, you lost them. You won't engage them. No way. So we have to do all of this without judging people too. That's why we have to invoke Baba's presence, because he knows how people are and what they need. In other words, a predominantly fire person needs constant inspiration. A predominantly water person needs to feel secure and safe and belong. A predominantly earth person needs to see how practical something is, otherwise they won't get involved, and so on and so on. So our spirituality has to do 2 things: has to make up for the discrepancies in our own balance. That's why I said more than 30 and less than 20 is a problem. If you've got everything around 25%, you're probably good at everything, an all-rounder. Often Brahmins are like that because they have they've had more lives, so they've had a chance to balance out over time. And we say that, okay, all this doesn't matter because we are, after all, peaceful soul, we are all loving soul, we are all pure soul. Okay. It actually, at a deeper level, at a purely spiritual level, it doesn't matter. But at a practical level, when we're interacting with all sorts of people, and people's tempers, people are so busy they forget Baba, they forget their spiritual roots, and the only thing that is left are all of these characteristics, and they rub against each other. So when you feel yourself being impatient, ask yourself what it is that's making you impatient. When you feel yourself not being able to tolerate someone, ask yourself why. Got it? So any questions about this? Probably thousands. Let's see what's there. Anyone put their hand up and you can ask us a question or comment. What's your initial impression about all of this? You don't need to even ask a question, make a comment. Is this useful for you?
Absolutely, 100% useful.
Who's speaking? Let me turn the gallery on.
I should put the camera on, yeah, I'll do that.
Cicely. Okay, who else?
I think it's useful because it helps to understand why you feel challenged in certain times. You know, if you're a dominant earth person and you don't see practicality happening, then it does sort of, you feel frustrated, so you can understand why. And so it's very useful. And also to understand, I think, what people's needs are. You can see what their dominant element is. It's also good to see what people feel their needs are. Mm.
What's your earth Pratibha? What number did you get for earth?
My earth is a 27.
Oh, it's quite high, yeah. And what's your low point?
Fire, 23.5.
What?
Fire.
How
Fire is
much?
my low point, 23.5.
20. Oh, it's not so bad. You're still,
Yeah,
still a
it's
little
sort of
bit.
all sort of the same, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're working with people that are completely impractical and that's your highest thing, then you have to do some work there.
Mm.
You know, it's not a crime. None of your numbers are a crime. It's just that's how you become over time. And so accept it and get along with others and understand that everyone has become different. We are not what we become. We are what we are. We are pure, loving, peaceful souls. But these characteristics are used in service. So in service, we will have challenges because of the differences. Differences are even in relationships with wives and husbands, you know. If you've got a wife who is a fire type person and the husband is a water type person, it makes steam, right? Fire and water. So there'll be some steaminess there in the relationship. So we have to get along with others. So we have to be able to read into what they need. This is the greatest characteristic of service. And this is where our spiritual growth most happens, when we make this effort. Okay. Anyone else like to say something?
I'll just put my
Share
camera on there. Now you see me. From
Yeah,
Shanti.
Cicely, hey.
Yes, yes.
Where are you from, Cicely?
Oh, do you want to hear the short story or the long story?
Just now at this moment, where are you?
Egypt. I'm in Egypt.
Okay.
Yes.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you too, Brother Ken. For me, it's very useful because I am about to embark on, I do leadership training myself, so a lot of this resonates, of course. But I like the story that you told us about the now Brazilian president and actually keying in on certain things. And I've also worked with politicians that want to be politicians who wanted to go into politics, and I gave them some techniques on what they should do. And I do that with people on a regular basis. And if they follow the technique, they do well. They're quite successful if they follow what I say. So I'm going to use some of these tools for doing a training on the 29th. So I'm definitely going to use some of these techniques. Very good. Some great yuktis that I'm finding here. And so I want to thank you for this wonderful leader. Everything's always on time, right? It's just in time for my training next week. So as it relates, it's actually Brahmins. So I'm going to be doing
You're working
this.
with Brahmins next week, is it?
Yeah, I'm going to be doing a training with some Brahmins next week. I just sort of by default, I'm in this place, and for some reason, Brahmins are coming here to Egypt, like here in Luxor, not Cairo, Luxor. And so I'm also want to do, they're asking me to do a retreat next year. So I think that this will be good to do a retreat like this.
Okay, yeah, well, you're welcome to use all of any of these ideas for whatever you need. But it was specifically for our centers and center coordinators to get along with each other. This is where we have most difficulties.
Yeah.
You know, if you go to Europe and you ask Brahmins generally if they live with other Brahmins, most of them live alone. The great majority live alone, not even with their families anymore because they've broken up. But many of them live alone and they have tried to live in a center or they have tried to be with other Brahmins. It didn't work out because they couldn't get along with each other.
Right.
And, you know, I have this same problem. We've got a vacancy in a center here, and I ask around, would anyone like to go to that place? And they say, oh, no, not with that particular sister there, or not with that particular brother. I won't go. And then you get people to volunteer to go, and then the person in the center says, I don't want that one. I don't want that one.
But I've learned to really get along with each one, because Baba has says in the past, he says you must know each other's sanskars. And so that has resonated with me. So I always, and this way I can manage myself better with the other one's sanskar. So I'm doing much better with relationships as it relates to being with Brahma. Yeah.
That's good. Okay, folks, let's carry on because this is the last session. There's quite a few things to cover before we finish. So I'm going to go back to here. We did do this before. This was a meditation we did offline. Now, what I want to show you now, after we did this, and then this morning we did this other one, similar. I want you to we have to jump this for the time being. This one here. Sometimes we need to have a conversation that is transformative. We have to have there are things that we need to do with people. We need to talk to people about. We need to put our case, in other words. And generally, we don't do very well at that. You know, I've got something that is a burning issue. I need to talk to a particular soul about that. So how do I do it? So this is just really a handout in a way, because there's no time to go into the depth of it. It is also a guide for mediating a conflict or a confusion. And it's based on this idea of the differences as well. So this is the steps, and I'm just going to go through the steps, and then you can ask some questions. And you can use this as a sort of a guide for conducting a difficult conversation with someone, or if you have to mediate some problem between Brahmins. It's very useful. So just asking the right questions. A bit like sometimes our role as a center coordinator or department head or whatever, an instrument in service for something other, our role is sometimes like a coach. And a coach really someone who stimulates the right conversation, asking the right questions. So the first thing let's say I've got a problem with someone. Then I'll go back and show you another way of sorting out a problem you have with someone. There are different ways you can have the conversation and you can do something else. Okay. Actually, it's probably better to do that before going into this. So I want you to think about a difficult or challenging situation first. Then we can talk about the conversation, if the conversation is necessary. So remember a recent challenging or difficult situation. And I want you to write down your reflections in three categories. The first one is to use gyan, use the third eye, as if you were a reporter. So look at the situation using your rational intelligence. You're not going to abandon your rational IQ, let's say, but now it's spiritual. You're using your third eye as well. So I want you to just write down in 2 sentences, as if you were a completely detached reporter observing the situation, but you have gyan. So you're writing down the situation, what happened, exactly what happened, and if you had a bad reaction, just write down, well, because of some karmic influence, I also made a mistake by saying this or doing that. So describe the situation using gyan, as if you were a reporter with a third eye. So as if if you were involved and you're looking at yourself as if it was someone else. You're just writing down very objectively what happened in 2 or 3 sentences. So take the situation, it could be a challenging situation or a difficult situation, an obstacle, a current obstacle. It could be related to health, could be related to finances, could be related to relationships with others. Just write down your 2 or 3 sentences that just describe it as if you had to make a report about it to Baba. So with Baba by your side, you're looking at the situation and you're just writing it down. So I'll give you a minute or so and I get some water meanwhile. Just 2 or 3 brief sentences describing the situation as if you were making a report to Baba. Baba, this happened, that one did this, I did this. It looks like there's some karmic connection here. There was a lack of understanding on my side, and I think I judged too much the other person. This happened because I forgot you. Anything, just be very honest with Baba about what happened. And no excuses. Well, say if you said you showed this report to Baba and then he corrected it, what would you say? How would Baba observe it? Can I go on, or can you indicate if I can go on just by putting in the chat, yes, can I continue, or you need some more time to write it down? Can someone give a sign of life? So let's see if there are a few more yeses. Can we go on? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, okay, yes, yes, yes. Okay, that's enough yeses. So you've described the situation. Okay, next step. You have to sort of, it's about feeling, adjusting your feelings. So as if you're sitting in the last row of the theatre and you're watching this scene on the stage, and this is like your emotional intelligent bit, you sort of empathize with the situation with the best intentions. What are the highest intentions here? Because we know that intention works very much close to bhavana. Baba has been saying this. It's like bhav and bhavana. So just put the situation as you just described it in front of Baba, and then invoke Baba and try to feel what Baba feels. Just try to feel his immense love and mercy. You may have been upset, or the other person got upset with you, but this is a chance to invoke Baba into this situation and adjust your feelings with his feelings. Just align your feelings. How does Baba, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about this? What's your highest feeling? What is the highest feeling that I can have towards this? How can I become the ocean of love, or the master ocean of love, the master ocean of mercy in this situation? So invoke those highest feelings and try to align with them. And with the situation in front of you, and Baba sitting beside you, just send the highest feelings towards the situation, towards the souls involved. Maybe it doesn't directly involve you, but let's say you're aware of a center in your under your command, let's say, or a sub-center where everything's completely stopped and stagnant. So it is a problem because service is stopped, and you have to find maybe someone else to send there. So again, it's something you have to see with Baba's heart. You have to see it with his eyes, and with third eye, therefore, you have to now see it through Baba's heart and feel what he feels. So just do it mentally. Maybe write down a word or two that describes your highest feeling. What are you picking up from Baba towards that situation or that challenge? And while you're there feeling that highest feeling, the third bit is like your spiritual quotient. Just really align yourself internally with the situation and ask Baba, what do I have to be? What do I have to be, or what do I have to become in order to deal with this better? What do I have to be? in order to deal with it better. And when the answer comes, Baba's telling you, child, you have to be more merciful. Child, you have to be more understanding. Child, you have to be more soul conscious. Child, you have to be more happy with your own fortune. Whatever. What do you pick up from Baba about what you have to be? Okay? And now, if you've got an answer to that, just be that for a few moments. Be it, become it. I am now the Master Ocean of Mercy. I am now the Master Ocean of Peace. I'm now conscious of my highest fortune, for example. I'm now totally soul conscious related to this matter. So whatever it is, you have to use Gyan to not analyze something outside of Gyan. Use Gyan to analyze it. Next step is to connect with Baba to check out how he feels towards it. And the third one, what do I need to be? That's it. You can sort out many, many situations just using these 3 steps. Describe it in terms of Gyan, connect with Baba to pick up how he feels towards it, and then ask Baba what you need to be related to that. And get the power from Baba to be that. Like you can send power, you can send this, go into this consciousness. You can put the situation in front of you and go into this consciousness. And Baba, through you, will send Sakash to that. This is what Sakash is all about. Using Baba to put power and purity into a situation. Because any problems there is because of a lack of that. Okay. So let's see if there are any questions. So it's not so difficult to sort out problems. If you're shy, you can put the question in the chat or the comment in the chat. Anyone have an insight in that little exercise? Wow, you people are so passive, not interactive at all. You do this in Latin America, you've got 100 answers already. Someone is saying often the challenge, there's Pratibha. Often the challenge, the response needed is compassion. Please expand on compassion. Well, you see, if you connect that with Baba, the word compassion is, at least from English, it comes from Latin and also from Greek in a way, because pati, which is there, it means something that's not working. Probably the same root as pathos. And com is with. So it means that you pick up what's missing, you pick up what is poor, you pick up what is not there. That's what compassion is all about. You can perceive what that situation really needs and become an instrument to provide that need. That's what compassion is. It's not feeling sorry for people. It's really being able to help them. because you realized exactly what's missing. What's missing here is love. So let me become an instrument for love. What's missing here is enthusiasm. So let me be an instrument to bring more enthusiasm. That's what compassion is all about, to figure out what is not there and become an instrument to bring it. So a little bit like mercy also is a similar root. It means, in Latin is misericordia. And cor means heart. So misery means, misericordia is like the poverty of the heart. So you pick up the poverty of someone's heart and you're able to help their heart heal. That's what mercy in essence is. And it's similar to compassion. Someone is saying this is a marvelous way to solve issues, to become the embodiment of Dharna. That's exactly right. Someone's saying good process to reflect on problem situations that need attention. Someone's saying, yes, conflict resolution. Yeah, these are like yuktis that are extremely useful. And they're the simple tools that Baba has given us. Nothing's not like quantum physics. None of this stuff. So if we try to react to something based on our ego, we'll get stuck always. So that we have to elevate our perception. That means involving Baba. So that means involving Baba's Gyan. That means involving Baba's presence. And
Anna's got her hand up.
yeah, okay, Anna, hello, and Eva also, both. Can you please then Anna and then Eva?
Hello.
Yes.
Doing this exercise, I put with my husband. I had just a bad day yesterday because I needed some space and silence, and I couldn't have it. So I was I felt suffocating and was very hostile and panicked and desperate. And he continued addressing me, thinking that this would solve the situation. So I couldn't concentrate. I wanted to work on something. So I left the house and went to the center and stayed there. And there I felt it just was so desperate. And all of a sudden I surrendered, and I felt this love from Baba. And now that I did the exercise again, I felt compassion and understanding, which was what I needed there. And I heard, let's say like that, Baba telling me to become more honest and embodiment of solutions.
Okay,
Not
great.
getting stuck. Yes.
It works. Eva.
Santi,
Shanti.
it was great, this slide that how to bring the unlimited to limited, which is a very big issue for me because I feel certain things at Amrit Vela or sense a great power from Baba, and then during the day it is not there, and at some point there is something lacking. I cannot make this power practical. So this was very helpful. I don't know still how to do it, but it gave me a sense of order in house. And I like the idea of the 5 elements. And I don't know if this is connected with what Baba says, that we can be master of the elements. It is so this. Santi, and thank you.
Yeah, this Mona is asking, please expand on deep-rooted sanskars. and deepen compassion. There's a connection between, I don't know if we talked about it, but with some group recently, maybe it was with you people. I was talking about karmic accounts. And a karmic account is yes, it was with you because Drusilla remembered about the atomic entanglement, right? It was with you, I think, last week, and I was talking about how a karmic account is sanskars on my side and sanskars on the other one, which are sort of tangled up. And that means there are two sides to a karmic account. Maybe there are different levels of suffering, or the feeling of karmic account is not only something bad, it could be good also. So it can be very delightful, the karmic account, or it can be very suffering, producer of suffering. But in any case, you're stuck with your own sanskars connected with someone else. And it's like a hyperlink in a document online. For example, you click something and it goes to something else, and then you go there, you click something that sort of has a hyperlink and it goes somewhere else. So we're all, karmic accounts are like hyperlinks that are related to our past somehow or the other. So we're tangled up. And some of them are very deep-rooted. Some of them, let's say, we've got two, let me use two things here. My water bottle and this other thing. So let's say you've got two buildings side by side, right? And one is slightly taller than the other, right? These are two buildings. And the connection is up here, right? This is the floor that I'm living on now, and this is the floor that the other one is living on now, right? Oh, we can do it on the top of the computer here, yeah. So you got problems between, in this life there are some problems. But actually, if you go back a few births, there's also a connection. Let's say 4, 5, 6 births ago, there's also something there. And then you go 10, 20 births ago, there's something there. So two things can be happening with sanskars. They can make my relationship with someone else uncomfortable. They can make my relationship with myself uncomfortable. Because my truth is down here in the basement. Yeah? But I'm living here, and there's a lot of floors between, yeah? So you could say the sanskars which are now active, they're being provoked by the last few layers. But some of them are being provoked for many, many layers before. I may even have some sanskars now that have been there since the Copper Age. And that's why Baba says, when you start to meditate, you go back through your sanskars, right? So it's like the upside down ladder in a way. So here I am, and now I have to get here, right? But I have to travel back through my Tamo, Raju, Satu to get to the Satu Pradhan. So these deep-rooted sanskars of truth, that is half of our existence in this earth. Half of our existence is golden and silver age. The other half is copper and iron age. So we've got this incredible foundation, incredibly strong foundation. But the thing is that I've been so much caught up in these details of the sanskars with myself, my relationship with myself, and my relationship with someone else, right? That we connected up and we're sort of banging against each other. But basically, I have to sort out my relationship with my own sanskars, because even that, my own sanskars are the ones that are creating problems with others. Even though this person experiences something different from me, if there's some entanglement, it'll be a problem for me, and as well as for the other person. But I can't change this one. I can just change me. So deep-rooted sanskars are, I can appeal to them. I have the sanskars of perfection in me now. I can touch them and bring them to the surface and keep them there with Baba's help. I have the sanskars of golden age within me. I can be perfect for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour, if I am concentrated. But at the same time, I become, the subtle vices are copper age stuff. The subtle vices are more copper agey. The gross vices are more iron aged. So if I'm grossly involved in something, getting grossly angry or having uncomfortable, lustful feelings or greedy feelings, these are very, very deep-rooted, because how many times have we enacted them over the cycle? But now I should be more going towards subtle and Sato Pradhan. So that's why when I'm thinking about someone else, this is me and this is the other person, right? I have to think about their Sato Pradhan qualities and not their Tamo Pradhan qualities. These are the two buildings are side by side, right? And they could be fighting with each other. But if I keep my attention on the foundation of the other one, I can only do that if I have my attention on my foundation. Okay? It's a really deep thing. The two buildings when dealing with sanskars. So Mona is saying thank you. I want to go back to the presentation now, because it's just to finish off, really. There's a little bit that I haven't done, but I can send it anyway to you. But I really wanted to explain this one. Now it makes more sense to go into, here we are, how to conduct a transformational conversation. So you figured out that there's something wrong. You have to check your feelings, of course. You have to check if you can do that exercise beforehand that we just did, will definitely help the conversation. So first step, identify what the most pressing issue is, because your definition of it may be different from the other person's definition of it. It could be something stupid like a process, I don't agree with the other. I don't agree with the way the other person is working. He's doing it, in a very roundabout way. He's too detailed. It's not necessary. We can be more simple. So I will define the issue differently from the other one. Because the other one's saying, yes, but we need to go into the details. And you're saying, no, we can be more simple. We can get it done in 1 week and not in 2 weeks. So what is the issue exactly that's creating the upset? What is the most important thing you and I should be talking about? So you start by the conversation at its highest level, we should be talking about, if I'm talking with a Brahmin, maybe if it's a Lokik person, it's a different sort of important thing. But with Brahmin, the most important thing that you and I should be talking about is our stage and how close to our own highest stage we are. It's probably the most important thing. So in that context, then you can look at a problem. What problem, when solved, will give the greater return of any time, energy, money we attribute to it? So you, in the light of the most important aspect, you talk about the problem. And then you can ask, these are just some suggestions, it doesn't have to be exactly this step by step. What's the topic you expect me not to address? And that may yield some interesting information. Because often we go around about the topics. We talk in English, we say it's the elephant in the room. We avoid talking about the main things just to keep, what's the topic you expect me not to address? Then clarify the issue, what's really going on and for how long? Just get the details down. What's the current impact? How does this affect both of us? Who else is affected and how? What's the impact on service? So it's really about sorting out a crucial relationship in service. You need to work with someone. I mean, often I've seen this sort of thing between a center coordinator and one of the students at the center. And they need to sort it out, but they're unwilling to have the conversation. You know, because the center coordinator is the all-powerful one, the almighty one, and the person who's going to the center is nothing, and so feels very shy to bring it up. But this is the sort of thing you could do as a mediator. You know that there's a problem between two Brahmins, so you sit with them, and often you have to be like that if you're a coordinator, especially national coordinator. What is the impact on service? And then you determine future implications. If nothing changes, what will happen? What's at stake for us if this goes on? What's at stake for others? And the contribution of each one to the issue. How did each of us personally contribute to this issue? So often these things are unsaid and the thing just gets worse and worse and worse until it just breaks and the person moves away or leaves the center. You know, we should be more open and honest about these things. Explore the optimal result. If this problem is resolved, what difference will it make? What would it look like if we could solve this issue brilliantly? And how would that affect others? How would you and I feel? How would others feel? So this is sort of the step-by-step conversation. And then finally, you know, commit to action. What are the next steps? How will we keep in touch as the solution unfolds? When we did this in Finland, and then also in Oxford and also in the US, we actually got people to split up into pairs and to imagine that the person that they were talking to was the one with whom they had a problem. So they had this sort of script in hand and they went through the questions. It was very, very interesting. You know, you can do that too, but because this is online, it's a bit difficult. And so this is, again, is something we can use, and I'll send everything to you. You can use this as a sort of a script for a difficult conversation, or you can use it as a script to help you mediate an issue between others if you have to. It's really, really, really useful if we have the courage to have such conversations. And I mean, I've seen it sort out things in an afternoon that were there for 5 or 6 years, you know. If conversation, very, very useful. Okay. I just want to finish talking about this one. And then we can, you know, listen to some experiences. Actually, just do this quickly and then we can. So there are 3 things. There's me, there's the situation, and there's the state of the people that are helping out. And so if I have a problem, let's say the situation is an incredible opportunity, people are extremely, you know, cooperative, but I'm feeling a bit depressed. So that will affect things. Let's say I'm feeling great. The situation, an incredible challenge, but no one's helping me. So you've got these three things playing out all the time: me, the situation, and the people who are supposed to be helping. And of course, there's me, my level of self-respect. There's the possibilities, the tasks, the pressure, the atmosphere of the situation, there, the relationships, the mood, the synergy, the virtues of the people. So there's chemistry all the time. So you have to figure it out. What do I have to do in this situation with the people that are around me? That's the permanent question. How do I include people if they don't want to get included? How do I inspire people if they're feeling a bit down? How do I, give them how do I get them to be more enthusiastic? How do I make sure that they really understand the task that's in front of them? All this chemistry is there all the time. So with those comments, what I'm going to do now, I want you to go into little groups. We're going to have a little bit extra this afternoon because it's the last session, just maybe 15 minutes more after 12:30. So quarter of the hour will finish, and it's now 20 past the hour. So I want you to go into groups of, for say 12 minutes or 15, better 15 minutes, go into groups for 15 minutes and share your realizations from this whole retreat, okay? All of these useful tips. Have a look at your notes, and now go into groups. Pratibha, Ben, can you put people into groups of 4 again?
I'll open.
And we will stay there for 15 minutes, and everyone has to really share what they've realized from the whole retreat, the whole 3 Saturdays. Okay? And then we'll come back. So please join, click the join button. Click your join button. There's still a few not joined. Click the join button because it makes it very interesting. There's a Greek group, there's a French group. So if you haven't joined, please join. There's still quite a few not joined. 37 people haven't joined yet, but please join. Actually, 26 have joined, but 11 have joined, but there's still quite a lot that haven't joined. Okay, good. So, Pratibha, Ben, let's come back after the 15 minutes, all right?
Brother Ken, I think everyone's back.
Hello, Om Shanti, everyone. So, what happened? Would anyone like to share from the whole retreat something? Something that most resonated with you? Something that you really liked, or you can put it in the chat also. Just listen to a few. Some people haven't spoken at all. Some have spoken not so much.
Can I say, Sikan?
Sure, Drusilla, yes.
No, I just want to say, first of all, big thank you for all of this. I appreciate and I admire the way you put such deep, deep aspects of knowledge into such a beautifully constructed and methodical way for us to be able to apply and to check ourselves and all of this. It's really a very good manual for us to keep looking at while we're interacting or with the self or with others.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, dear Sister Drusilla. Anyone else? Share?
Shanti, can I say something? It's Jay Pema from Johannesburg.
Okay, Jay, sure.
Sure. Brother Ken, thank you very much. I mean, really, I think we're also grateful to you for putting together this work that you have done. It really is so deep, and one would have to reflect a lot more on it. But what struck me was one of the statements you made about harmony within families, and that we are meant to be an example of what harmony is in an elevated spiritual setting. And yes, we all need to aspire towards that. And I think that's very special. Also, in terms of understanding what drives us, what motivates us. And at the end of the day, we all are Baba's leaders, instrument leaders in one way or the other, in terms of the work we do for Baba, or when we represent Baba and the people we come into contact with. So this has really been a very special contribution in helping us reflect on our roles and how we deal with people that may be different to us, how we may deal with people that have different sanskars and things of that nature. So I'm really very thankful to have been part of this process. And thank you once again, Brother Ken. Om Shanti.
So ever saying Baba is a strange attractor and gives us so much for a reason. Yes. Oma is saying, as a summary from this, I improve my dharma, I come closer to my original dharma, which helps me improve my bhav and my bhavna. Yes. This is someone is saying, Cape Town, it must be you. Someone in Cape Town, maybe the sender. I love that everything was shared, always redirected to the self, and Baba just made me aware that I don't bring in Baba as much. I can see how this can support in so many situations. Okay. Some of the people connected are actually a few people together, right? Is that right, Pratibha? Somebody saying, really lovely to go deep into the vastness of Baba's knowledge. Many thanks to the family. Baba always knows what the soul needs, Sicily. So we all are wishing you good luck in Egypt.
Brother Ken, I appreciated the tools. You gave very lovely little exercises that one can always go back to and use again and again. And I think that's very helpful going forward. And I'm looking forward to doing it again in Madhuban.
Right. Dorothy is organizing it for the 18th to 20th, I think. So good. Okay, folks. I'll send you the things that I promised. I'll send you these last 2 lessons because the other ones I've already sent. So has this been filmed, Pratibha?
It's been recorded onto our YouTube channel. That's for Brahmin sustenance. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. So can you send me the link for that? Because then maybe I can edit a little bit of, get them to the essence of it. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so let's have a minute of silence together. Okay, so just take the chance to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we will see whoever's going to Madhaban in February. I'll see you there.
Brother Ken, and on behalf of the Africa family, just a very big thank you for your time. I mean, it was incredible. Last week you had 6 hours non-stop talking. So, I mean, it's been a huge commitment from your side, and we really deeply appreciate it. Your
Well,
time.
this morning was the same as last week.
So thank you very, very much. Yeah.
Okay, and thank you for the Greek family for being with us together. It was lovely. Greece and Africa. What is the meaning of Greece and Africa together? It's interesting.
No. Same time zone, for one thing.
Yeah. Who knows?
And some affinity there.
There must be some affinity. Maybe certainly between Greece and Egypt, right?
Right.
Okay, everyone. Om Shanti. Om Shanti.
Om
Bye bye.
Shanti.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
We'll
much.
see you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you so much for the translators as well. Very good. Thank you.